Have you ever noticed how emotions can hijack a conversation before you even realize it? Self-control isn't about bottling feelings, but about pausing, understanding, and choosing your words to protect your future relationships and goals. Let's explore how that crucial pause can change everything. What is self-control? What it really means to have good self-control. Self-control is often misunderstood. It is not the ability to feel nothing. It is the ability to feel something strongly and still choose a response that protects your relationships, goals, and integrity. Good self-control creates a pause between what you feel and what you decide to say or do. Self-control is the ability to manage your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions instead of reacting automatically to whatever you feel in the moment. It helps you pause before speaking, think before deciding, and act in a way that your future self can still respect. Having good self-control does not mean you never feel angry, frustrated, tempted, jealous, nervous, or upset. People with good self-control often feel the same emotions as everyone else. The difference is that they notice those feelings and choose what to do with them. Self-control is not emotionless behavior. It is responsible behavior while emotions are present. What self-control really means. Self-control means creating a small space between impulse and action. In that space, you can ask, what is happening? What do I feel? What will this response create? That pause can change the whole direction of a conversation. Without self-control, emotions often become instructions. Anger says, attack. Jealousy says, dismiss their success. Stress says, take it out on whoever is nearby. Temptation says, do it now and worry later. Self-control does not remove those feelings. It helps you decide whether they deserve to lead. This is why self-control is closely connected to speaking. Your words are often where your impulse becomes visible. A sharp sentence, an angry message, a defensive interruption, or a careless insult can create consequences long after the emotion has passed. Common myths about self-control. Myth 1. Self-control means suppressing emotions. Suppressing emotions usually means pretending you don't feel them. Self-control is different. It means acknowledging the emotion without letting it dictate every decision. A person with self-control might think, I am angry right now. I need some time before I respond. Myth 2. Self-control means being weak or passive. Staying calm is not the same as accepting everything. In many situations, self-control requires more strength than reacting immediately. It can be easy to shout, insult, blame, or walk away dramatically. It often takes more discipline to stay clear, speak firmly, and solve the problem. Myth 3. People either have it or they do not. Like speaking, listening, driving, or exercising, it improves through repeated practice. You may find it easier in some areas than others. Someone may be controlled with money, but impulsive with words, calm at work, but impatient at home, or disciplined with study, but reactive online. What a lack of self-control can look like. A lack of self-control often means acting on immediate emotion or impulse without considering the result. It can look dramatic, such as shouting during a disagreement. It can also look quiet, such as sending a cold message, gossiping when upset, spending money impulsively, interrupting constantly, or scrolling for hours to avoid difficult feelings. The problem is not only the action itself, it is the pattern. When temporary emotional release repeatedly creates bigger problems, trust starts to weaken. People may forgive one bad moment, but repeated uncontrolled behavior makes others feel unsafe, tired, or unsure which version of you they will meet. A useful question is, will this response make the next 10 minutes easier, but the next 10 days harder? Examples of self-control in real life. When someone insults you, someone says something rude, and you feel the urge to attack them back. Less effective. Who do you think you are talking to? You are an idiot. Better. I do not think this conversation is productive right now. Let us talk later. Why this works. It doesn't pretend the insult was acceptable. It stops the conversation from becoming a shouting match, gives you space to respond from judgment rather than anger. When you receive critical feedback at work, a manager or colleague points out something you didn't do well. Less effective. That's not my fault. You are always blaming me. Better. Thank you for the feedback. Let me review it and see what I can improve. Why this works. It resists the first defensive reaction. It keeps your professional reputation intact. It gives you time to decide which parts of the feedback are useful. When stress spills into your tone, you are overwhelmed, and someone asks you for something at the wrong moment. Less effective. Can you not see I am busy? Stop bothering me. Better. I am dealing with a lot right now and I am not thinking clearly. Can we talk about this later? Why this works. It tells the truth without attacking the other person. It protects the relationship from your temporary stress. It shows responsibility for your emotional state. When you want something immediately, you are trying to save money, but you see something you want to buy. Less effective. I want it now. I will worry about the consequences later. Better. I want it, but buying it would delay the goal I said mattered to me. Why this works. It doesn't shame the desire. It compares the short-term urge with the long-term goal. It makes the future consequence visible before you act. What highly self-controlled people often say. People with self-control often use simple phrases that create space. The phrase does not have to sound impressive. It only needs to slow the moment down enough for a better choice. I need a moment before I respond. I am angry, but I do not want to speak carelessly. Let me think about that and come back to you. I see it differently, but I want to understand your view first. You are right. I could have handled that better. I want this now, but it would move me away from my bigger goal. These sentences work because they interrupt automatic behavior. Instead of pretending everything is fine, they name the need for time, perspective, or responsibility. Practical ways to improve self-control. Pause before responding. Even a short pause can stop a regrettable sentence. You do not need a perfect answer immediately. In a tense moment, one calm breath can give your brain time to move from reaction to choice. Name the emotion. Try quietly saying, I am embarrassed, I am frustrated, or I feel rejected. Naming an emotion helps you see it as information, not as an order. It also stops you from pretending the feeling is something else. Ask, how will I feel about this tomorrow? Or, what will this make harder later? Self-control becomes easier when the future consequence feels real before you act. Create distance when emotions are high. Step away from the conversation. Get water, take a short walk, or say, I need time to think. Distance is not avoidance when you use it to return calmer and clearer. Practice small acts of discipline. Self-control grows through repetition. Finish one task before checking your phone. Wait before making a purchase. Listen without interrupting. Stay polite during a small frustration. These ordinary moments train the same skill you need during bigger pressure. How Spekero can help you practice. You can use Spekero to practice self-control in your speaking. Record a sentence such as, I need some time before I respond. Then listen back. Does your voice sound calm, rushed, sarcastic, defensive, or steady? Try recording the same phrase in 3 ways: angry, too quiet, and calm. This helps you hear the difference between controlling your tone and hiding your feelings. The goal is not to sound robotic. The goal is to sound responsible. Related articles. How to deal with demanding people without losing self-control. How to be blunt without being rude. And how to move on after speaking the wrong way. Final thought. Self-control is not about never feeling emotional. It is about being responsible with emotions when they appear. Anger, jealousy, fear, stress, disappointment, and temptation are normal human experiences. The question is whether they become the only voice in charge. Good self-control helps you protect relationships, make better choices, and keep your integrity during difficult moments. The goal is not to erase emotion. The goal is to choose your actions carefully, even when emotion is strong.